Check out this video of a hurricane slamming into the Gulf Coast, producing whipping winds and also sheets of heavy rain. The only problem is this is not the Gulf Coast. This is actually Little Rock, Arkansas on September 6th. And that is not from a hurricane. It is from a powerful, severe thunderstorm that brought down tree limbs, that produced power outages across this part of Little Rock, as indicated by the storm reports that we have been receiving from the National Weather Service. Look at the radar loop. This storm exploded very quickly across the area. It was just a little shower over Pinnacle Mountain, and then boom, within a few minutes, that storm was producing a lot of lightning, and there you see the heavy rain happening in this part of Little Rock, and just as fast as it developed, it fell apart. Look at the winds that we saw from radar. Now, this is about 400 to 500 feet above the surface. The radar is into North Little Rock. Watch the legend here and watch these colors start to change. Here comes the storm producing some winds. And that's typically what happens. You have a thunderstorm, it produces that nice little cool breeze before it arrives and the rain starts to make its way into your neighborhood. That's known as the gust front, or it is the downdraft part of the thunderstorm. The storm begins to collapse. No big deal. Winds 30, maybe as high as 40 miles per hour. That rapidly changes though in the next couple minutes. The colors start to brighten up. We're getting past 40 miles per hour. We're getting more into 50 mile per hour range. Then as we go into around 7 minutes after 3 o'clock, look at these brighter colors. And you're thinking, hey, this could be a tornado, right? Because I see a couplet. There's rotation there. We've got the blue and the red very close together. But this is not a rotation couplet. This is what's known as a downburst signature on radar. And that's because the winds are going in different directions. They're diverging. And that's why we saw those winds really continue to pick up in strength and intensity, because this storm is collapsing and all this energy is coming down to the surface. The radar detected 60 to 80 mile per hour winds right through Reservoir Road, in between North Mississippi Street, but certainly along Rodney Parham, and that's where a lot of damage was reported as well. As fast as it developed, it fizzled out. Just a few miles to the east, there was a nice breeze, about 30 miles per hour. So what happened? Why did this storm go crazy? And a lot of the storms really don't produce destructive winds like that. Here is a diagram of the thunderstorm. There's two parts. You have the updraft and the downdraft. Let's talk about the updraft first. Warm, humid air rises, and as this warm, humid air rises into the atmosphere, it cools, condenses, produces the clouds, and those clouds will continue to grow. Yesterday, we reached a high of 102 degrees before the storms arrived at Little Rock Airport. As the storms begin to cool, condense, that's when the rain starts to develop, and the snow, and also the hail, because you're well above the freezing level. Then, as this gets too heavy for the cloud to hang on to, the rain starts to make its way down to the surface, and any hail, if it holds together, could also make its way down. But it's also evaporating as it tries to push its way down to the ground. We also had a lot of dry air in the mid layers of the atmosphere, and that combination produced a bubble of cooler air, but certainly this cooler air raced its way down to the surface, came crashing down, and then spread out. So when you think about that situation, almost think about like you're dumping a bucket of water on concrete and how that water just spreads out across the surface. That's what essentially happened with this type of thunderstorm. And those thunderstorms like that can produce winds of 60 to 80 miles per hour. When you take a look at the enhanced Fujita scale for a tornado, an EF0 or a weekend tornado is 65 to 85 miles per hour. So yeah, straight line winds can match tornado damage. And speaking of tornado damage, the same areas that got hit by this microburst also were hit 5 months ago by a powerful EF3 tornado. So unfortunately, a lot of folks that were cleaning up from that event and still trying to rebuild have to rebuild from this event as well. This means anytime there's a severe thunderstorm warning, you need to pay attention. Just don't write it off, because there is that occasion that we do see storms produce some destructive winds. Even when a tornado warning is not issued, severe thunderstorm warning, by definition, is a storm producing 58 mile per hour winds or greater. For THV11 Weather, I'm meteorologist Nathan Scott.